Hello everyone, today is our 5th episode of this series. We have 4 episodes earlier where we discussed the revenue KPIs, cost per cover, which is variable cost, fixed cost, we talked about the pricing strategy, and now in this last one of this series, the 5th episode, we're going to discuss about how we do a revenue projection. That's the most important, but to come to a revenue projection, we need to go through the CPC with fixed cost, the pricing strategy, and also the revenue KPI. So we covered all of them, and this time, revenue projections. Now, revenue projections means we forecast the revenue for coming months, generally for a full year. Now, for the new restaurants, it's a little bit tricky, but for the operating outlets and restaurant, it is more the reputation based on your strategy. So the most toughest part is first, second and third year of revenue projections, and then you pick up the trend and then you start working on the trend, and then the strategies and your plan and your actions and your investment in the capex, in your assets, in your operations, in your marketing will improve your revenue, which is shown in this projection. So today we're going to talk about how we start this projection, how we do the revenue projection, and then there's expense as we discuss CPC for the variable cost, we discuss about the fixed cost, we take it out, and then we come out to the profit. But the main or the most important, not only for the restaurant, also for opening hotels, for the pre-opening hotels, this is the most crucial part because it impacts your cash flow, your break-even point, and how you sustain the business. Now we have 6 key elements which need to be worked on before we start the process of forecasting or revenue projection. The first one is the location. If you open an outlet or a restaurant in close to airport or in the airport or in, let's say, bus station, railway station, where the most of traffic is moving, your projection will be very different and different price. But if it is in a supermarket, if it is in a market, if it is in a beach side, then again your revenue projection going to be different. So first is a location. First we consider which location we are in. Now next one is seating capacity, which means how many people can sit at one time in your restaurant. Now seating capacity is very, very, very important because this impacts your revenue projections, your flows, and how much revenue you can generate. So what I have done, I have taken a small example. I have taken a 4 restaurants A, B, C, D with a seating capacity. In this chart, we have a different seating capacity. Now for A it's 30, B is 40, C is 50, and D is 60, which means each time how many people can dine. And then next row is turnover in meal period. How many time you can turn over, which means when people dine, generally they take 1 hour or 1 hour 20 minutes. So can you do 2 turnovers or you can do 3 turnovers? So I have taken different turnovers for all these restaurants. For A, the turnover is 3, which means in 1 meal period you can repeat the table 3 times. For the B is 2, C is 2, and D is 2. Now it's also depend on the cuisine, what cuisine you are serving. Then there's a meal period. You're serving breakfast, lunch, or dinner. So restaurant A is serving only 2 meals, let's say lunch and dinner. B also 2 meals, but C and D are serving 3 meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So based on this calculation, we can find out the maximum seating capacity per day. Like for A, it is 180. They have a seating capacity of 30. They can do 3 turnover, means they can repeat 3 times the table, and 2 meal periods. So 30 times 3 times 2. So they can maximum serve 180 covers. And then for a month, that's for 30 days, 5,400. Similarly for B, they can serve 160, C can serve 300, and D can serve 360. So you can see the maximum seating capacity per month, it keep changing. It keep increasing based on the seating capacity, what is the turnover in the meal period, which also based on the cuisine and how many meal period the restaurant is open. So this is very crucial data, seating capacity. So when you finalize the location, second one, the seating capacity. If your seating capacity is not very high, you cannot generate too much revenue unless you come with a new set of strategy like more takeaways, more fast food, where your turnover in the seats are very fast. And also very important thing in seating capacity, like for A, we have 5,400 in a month. Now, they can't use 100%. There are tables with 2 seats, there are tables with 4 seats. Suppose 3 customers come and they use the table with the 4 seats, which means 1 seat will be not used for that meal period. Similarly, 1 person comes, single come, they sit in a table with the 2 seats, second cannot be used. So you cannot use 100% of the seats. So when we finalize, like for A restaurant, 5,400, so we cannot generate the revenue from all 5,400 seats. The industry standard is around 70%. Some are even go to 60, 50. But if you go below 50, then there's a problem. Then there's a strategy need to be revised and plan and action to be implemented to improve the production or the occupancy per seat. The seat should be occupied at the maximum, but crossing 70 is very difficult. And the third key element is the opening hours. Now, what is the opening hours? Opening hours is how long your restaurant is open. If your restaurant is not open for a longer term, obviously you cannot generate more revenue. But what time your restaurant is open? Again, if it is in a close to airport or in the airport or bus station or railway station on a highway, yes, opening hour can be late, can be early because there's a traffic of tourists and the travelers. But if you are in a mall, there's set timing for the mall. They don't open certain time, they close certain time. If you are in a city, town, you have to go with the local regulation. So opening hours also very important. The fourth one is a market. Which market are you going to serve? In our hotel industry, we call it geo-mix, geographical mix. What kind of customers are coming? If you are in a city which are having tourists, which country is traveling? Is it China, it's India, it's Europe, it's a wedding season? What kind of tourists are coming to the city, to the town? But there's too many industries, there's corporate people, they're business people, or they're tourists, or mostly locals. They like to go out and eat. But what time? So again, we have to check the market, which market we are going to serve. This will influence your covers and also your average per cover, which is money, how much money you generate from each cover. We in our first episode explained very in detail the meal period, the covers and the average spend. So what kind of average spend we're going to get from this market? The fifth one is quite easy, it's events, is a festive. If there's a festive season, yes, there'll be different demand. If no festive season, a different demand. So festives, events, they can be a sports activity, they can be a religious activity. And the sixth one is a cuisine. What kind of cuisine are you going to serve? And also, is it a fast food? Or you're going more on the takeaways, grab and go? Or yes, it's a sitting meal, you sit and eat. Or it's a all you can eat. You know, there's a restaurant concept, all you can eat, where you have a set buffet, fixed menu, people come, they eat, they go, they pay fixed price. So there the turnover is very high, but again, the cuisine is very local, or a mix of everything, international and local. So again, what kind of cuisine are you going to do? If you are all you can eat kind of restaurant, yes, then your turnover is very fast. It may be instead of 2, you can do 3 or 4, because people come, they eat, they go. But again, this concept is when you are close to the corporate area or a very busy area where the travelers are going. So again, location is also important. So again, all these 6 things are all connected to each other. We need to finalize first. We need to be very clear. My outlet, my restaurant going to be these 6 things. What going to happen in each 6 key areas. And then we start working on the revenue projection. So now again, I want to run through revenue KPIs very quickly. Although I explained in the episode 1, I will suggest you go through all my 4 episodes and then you come to this one, because you'll get a complete overview from the structural point of view. It's very important, because this will be needed by the investors. If you go to the bank, even you go for any kind of funding, you prepare your business plan, all this information will be needed. So when you go first 4 episodes, you have understanding on those areas, and then you come to the final revenue projections, which is very important. It has to be very accurate. So it's again meal period, average per cover, APC we call it, and covers, which is a paying guest. Only paying guest. I explained you in one of the episode about importance of covers. It should be only paying guests, otherwise it will fudge the data, it will mess up the data for next forecasting or estimating. So you have to be very careful in the covers in restaurant business. So all this in the circle, you can have meal period, MP, then this covers and the APC. It has to be accurately defined. Then next is a meal period. I explained you, you're going to do a breakfast, lunch or dinner, or you're going to open restaurant for the late nights. There are certain locations where the outlet is open the late nights. Now, again, we call it supper in our hotel industry. That period we put a fourth one because the average spend on that period is always different. And if you mix it with the dinner, the entire data start giving you a different picture. Because dinner time, average spend is high. Lunch is slightly lower, and the supper is very low. Because people want quick food, they just eat or they just grab something and just go. So if you open a restaurant for a later period, let's say 11 o'clock you close for the dinner, any order coming after 11 going to that period, supper. So be careful on the meal period. Your data, whatever you collect for the first year operation, even for the first month, second month, third month is going to be very important. You can start correcting your path, correcting your forecast. The moment you start getting your first month data on this meal period on ABC and covers. Next one is the average per cover. Now here, when you start a restaurant, take an average per cover for combined meal. Combined meal means average for food and average for beverage. It's very difficult to know how much going to be my average beverage and how much going to be my average food. So it's become more complicated for the first year. When you start doing a basic projections, it's better to do average per cover. Let's say you do 100. Later you can divide, okay, 70% goes to the food, 30% goes to the beverage for a forecasting purpose. But later when you get a real data, you start adjusting it. So average food plus average beverage is APC, average per cover. So we have to find out the average per cover. This is based on your menu pricing. We discussed the pricing strategy in episode 4. The first we decide the price, and based on the menu price, how much your menu price is, we come to the average per spend. We also do the market survey, the close by area, what other restaurants are selling and how much people are generating. Try to get maximum information on the average spend. Generally, if the people from the industry, they know it based on their experience. But if you are not from this industry or there's no one who can help you in this exercise of revenue projection, better take the average price from the menu, the main dish, the appetizer, and average it out. You have to just estimate it. It can be completely different. I just recall once we opened a restaurant in Teppanyaki, a small seating capacity, and we decided the average spend. Average food will be 2,000 and beverage will be 800, and that's how we did the revenue projection. But when we opened the restaurant, we got surprised to see actually the average spend goes 2,900 and beverage goes down to 300. So it's completely a different number. Although we are getting revenue, we are close to average per spend, and average food and average beverage was going completely different paths. So when you do first revenue projection, your data may go slightly left or right, but it's not a problem. You start correcting it once you start gathering data, and that's why the paying covers, average spend is very important. So total revenue divided by the paying covers is your average spend, and then you know how much average spend this restaurant is generating. And then you have a seating capacity, and then you have meal periods, you have opening hours, and each meal period has a different average spend. So you have to gather all those data. But initially, you just go for the estimate based on your menu price. There are few factors which influence your revenue projections. This is the tourist period, festive period, tourist season, school holidays, weather conditions. These all impact your forecast. So when you do a 12-month forecast, these factors should be considered. So what is the approach we have to take? So first we have to decide our annual target, and I'm going to explain you how you decide your annual target. Then once your annual targets are done, you divide into 12 months, and then to the meal periods, like that. There is a process. You should not start meal period to the monthly to the annual. It's going to be complicated. First, I have to decide one day because I have no much data. I make it annual target and then again go back to 12 months. Use the factors of the school holidays, tourist season, festive period, weather conditions. So 12 months are done. Then you go to the meal period and then you keep dividing it. So I have taken a simple example. I have taken a meal period, 3 meal periods, breakfast, lunch and dinner. The covers, I just decided the covers based on the capacity of the restaurant. 30 for the breakfast, 30 for the breakfast, 22 for the lunch and for the dinner. And for the dinner 35. So 87 cover I expect average full year I'm going to get. So someday maybe 100, 120, someday maybe 60, 70. So 87 is my just estimate to start this process. Then I decide my APC, which average per cover. It's easy because it's much easy for the breakfast because we know how much breakfast we are selling for. It's 180, lunch goes down below breakfast, 145, and then again dinner goes up. So whatever number you decide, please use this trend. The lunch has to be the lower, breakfast slightly over, and then the dinner higher. If you're not having a bigger breakfast setup, then maybe the breakfast can be lower than the lunch also. Again, based on the restaurant concept. Then you come to the amount. You multiply covers with the APC, you come to the amount. When you multiply 30 with 180, we got 4,500 for breakfast. For lunch, we got 3,190, and for dinner, 8,225. So total we are going to get 15,915 per day. That's my first estimate. Then I multiply by 365. So look at the second chart. So per day we are having 87 covers, 365 days. Total cover we are going to do 31,000 multiplied by the average per day, and we got 5.8 million. So that's the revenue I'm estimating. Now when we estimate like this, we can be 10% over, we can be 10% lower. It can be 6 million, it can be 6.2, 6.1, it can be 5.5. But again, I got an annual projected figures. Then I sit with my chefs and all, and then I decide in the 12 months, use the factors of the school holidays, the tourist season, the weather conditions, and the festive, and then break it down to the meal period and all. And then your forecast is ready. You work on that forecast. When your first month finish, put all the numbers in front of the first month of your forecast, second month of forecast. You see how much your trend is, how much you're out, or how much you are over or under, and you start correcting your forecast. So first you're going to be a little bit of work. The moment you cross the 6-7 month, you start getting a fair idea how the restaurant is generating and what is its capacity to generate the revenue. And your second year going to be much better. For second year, it's if you want to increase your menu pricing, you see you're below market, you penetrated in the market. We explained the market penetration in last episode of 4th in pricing strategy. So if you are enough penetrated, if you think yes, you in by 20% or 30%, and then you start stabilizing your prices. The price can increase. Or if you're not able to get enough market share, which means your penetration is less than what you expect, then again you have to change the price, you have to change your strategy. So again, those strategic actions will come up. But once this your annual projection is done and you start breaking down in 12 months and you start tracking it, then you start working towards it. A very important part, capacity. Generally, the kitchen should be enough. We work at a formula of 60-40. Now it's come down to 70-30, which means 30% is the back office, 70 is the front, which is the selling space, open space. But it's always recommended to do 60-40. If you're 100 square feet, 40 should go for the kitchen and the storage and the cleaning of the dishes, and also you need at least 40% out for this back office to make sure you can generate so much food in this space, in the kitchen space, which is going to be sold in the front area, which is your restaurant. So that's how you do the revenue projections. Now, once your first year is done, you have to increase your average spend, and there's a lot of actions to be done to increase your average spend, because every year we want to increase our revenue projections. We want to increase our average per cover, APC, by 2%, 3%, 5%. We want to increase our covers. We want to increase the seating capacity. We can do a lot to improve our revenue estimates for the coming years. But the most important is how we increase our average spend. To increase average spend, there are many points can be considered. One is like side dishes. Like if your main dish is like 200, 300, you put as side dishes 4 or 5 in the menu with 30, 40, 50 baht, small amount. So when the people order a big one, they order the small side dishes which add to your average spend, like mashed potatoes, french fries, small portions, 30, 40, 50, 60 baht, and people order main meal, they keep ordering the side meal also, side dishes, which increase the overall average spend of the check of the paying guest. Then you bundle the dishes. If you take this one, you get this one free, 2, 3 things, you bundle it, giving some discount, but you bundle it. In discounting, yes, you get a little bit less profit, but again you have to sell, again you have to bundle those items which is having high contribution, and you put 2 or 3 items with one bundle. Set menu is another example. Set menu generate very high average spend. And then train your staff how to upsell. The main topic which we discussed today is a revenue projection. And I believe it's quite clear to you, and you will do wonders in your restaurant by using all this learning. Please come back to me if you need to know more about revenue projections, cost structures, business plan, and how to open a restaurant. I'm going to put the links for all 4 episodes of this series, so you can get entire overview of the restaurant structure, the revenue pricing strategy, cost per covers, and all very important for your business plan and for your success in the business. All the best to you. See you in next episode.